Our protagonist this time is very different. Usually in these kinds of stories, you've got a guy doing his best to grind, acquire everything and level you. But Jihad isn't like that. He awakened with such simple talents that all he can really do is run a quiet bookstore. And for him, that's enough. He loves reading and enjoys living a peaceful life. What Jihad doesn't expect, though, is that he actually the single person chosen to become a god in this world, a being so powerful that even legendary creatures from his books would end up as his pets. While everyone else is out there leveling up like crazy, they have no idea that Jihad is quietly saving the world, sometimes without even trying. But here's the question. How can a boy who only wanted a tranquil life keep his chill when so much power has been forced upon him? Most people would give in to temptation. And will this happen to Jihad? That's what we are here to discover. Let's get it in a day not unlike any other. The peace everyone thought would last forever was shattered with the appearance of the dungeons. Everyone was terrified when the goblin testosterone appeared in the middle of the city. Hundreds of creatures emerged, bringing fear. However, just as despair, 5 hope appeared. People awaken as entities called hunters, and the new materials that fell from the monsters made humanity prosper, and that's how the world of hunters began. But our protagonist is different from everyone else. We see him at the Hunters Association, and the girl at the reception says it's the first time she's seen someone with a worker class. The guy was born to be a slave in this world. Everyone only. His combat classes, he's the first to have something that's not useful for combat. She asks you don't have any skills or talents. He somewhat embarrassed replies that he doesn't. We then see a shot for hunters in Sector 7. Our protagonist Opu Hunt is receiving customers. They say they came to get some potions, but the girl points at him right away and says, "Wait, aren't you that guy with the worker class?" You awkwardly says yes. She then asks, "Is it true you don't have any skills?" The guy next to her reprimands her, saying, "Don't say that, stop." He looks at the protagonist and says sorry, she's a bit lost. The protagonist says it's okay, and that she didn't say anything wrong here. He doesn't have any special skills because of this, he doesn't hunt. He just stays in the background collecting resources. With that, the girl says she understands. And the guy says she shouldn't have asked. Some tanks passed by on the street, and everyone knew it must be at least a rank 3 dungeon that appeared. The guy says, "Damn, I wish I could participate in one of those." She replies with, "Our skills. Forget it. Not nearly enough." Our protagonist, observing, just thinks about how difficult something like that must be. The people leave, and he says, "Arigato." He wonders. How much resource must be in a place like that? However, obviously he's never going there. It's been 5 years since he awakened. He'd received his worker class, but it has nothing. No skill, no special characteristic. That's why when he goes to the dungeons, he stays in the background. As soon as everyone kills everything, he goes in and picks up the leftovers. Does it pay well? No, but it's enough just for him to pay the bills for the month and keep this place open and do what he likes most, which is reading books. Whenever the shop is empty, he picks one up and reads. But that day he got sleepy. He thought maybe it was because the book was too difficult to understand, and boom, he fell on the table. But the book shined. Then he went inside. Our boy wakes up with a leaf falling on his face and gets up all startled. What is this? Wait, it's definitely not a dream. Is it an illusion? Can I open my status window? He opens it. Nothing special, but this forest looks a bit strange. I don't hear any animal sounds, and I can't see anything because of this dense fog. All I can see are those little sprouts there. Looks like a fruit. He approaches confused, saying, "I've never seen anything like this." Ether Herb makes the consumption of ether for any skills. For 10 seconds? Is this description real? If this were true, it would be a very good item, either. In this world is basically mana. It's the energy people use to cast skills. Oh, an item that allows you to basically have infinite energy for 10 seconds would be incredible. He keeps looking and thinking, if only he could get the liquid from these herbs. Too bad it didn't bring any bottles with me. Right in front of him, there's a leaf on a branch that kind of catches his attention. He decides to take a closer look. Apparently it was in a lake. He got some water and poured on top. With that, out of nowhere, the skill appeared. You're a friend of plants. Level 1 Blessing of the Unknown. Jihad is confused. It's the first skill he has received in 5 years as a hunter, and all he did was water the plant, which suddenly started growing roots into the ground. He thought it was going to become gigantic, but it disappeared in front of him. With that, he woke up back in the shop out of nowhere, and thought it had all been a dream. The strange thing is, it was so realistic that he realizes his hand is covered in mud. So the dream was real. He wonders, could it be that when I'm sleepwalking, I slept here in the shop, and went out collecting mud? No way. Or did I somehow actually get transported to that hours when I fell asleep? Considering this is now the world of hunters, it wouldn't be impossible. He decides to test it again. He dozes off once more and wakes up in the forest again. However, he notices the place looks bigger, and all the fog is gone. He starts to think this might be a personal dungeon that only he can enter when he sleeps, and he had never heard of this kind of power. That Nisa solar apple, a fruit that when mixed with the healing potion, increases healing by 20% and reduces cooldown by 80%. Grananos potions are the most used items in dungeons. However, the ones available and most heal 10% of health and have a long cooldown. The taste is also terrible. Looking at the apples, he's astonished there aren't just one or two. There are a bunch of solar apples. He has an idea. What if he makes a potion using the solar apple and that curve that gives infinite energy for 10 seconds? He thinks taking one or two things from here is okay, right? But where will these store them? At that moment, a bag falls on his head out of nowhere. That dimensional bag. He doesn't suspect anything, just accepts it, since now he can carry things. Clearly, it seems someone is watching him. After that, he decides to return to the shop. The next day we see another shop. One of the more expensive ones for hunters. Everyone goes there to buy potions, but they're out of stock until someone looks behind and says, "Hey, that woman Hygiene, the sword witch." The shop owner comes over all fluster and says, "Hygiene, I didn't know you were coming." But she quickly responds, "I came because you haven't been answering me. The potion I asked for yesterday, where is it?" The guy, embarrassed, replies, "Ah, I'm sorry, but your potion is still being prepared. Could you wait a bit?" She says she can't. She has her major dungeon in 30 minutes. With that, she pulls out her phone to see if there's any shop nearby. Meanwhile, our boy is playing Heisenberg in production. He makes purified water, Undenied's tears, and the other. He says it's going to be insane. Now he just needs to add the solar concentration into the rotating tube. Downing the potion, the system unifies him due to the blessing of the unknown. A verdict of great success has been applied. You have acquired Alchemy Level 1 Special Potion. The duration of unlimited skill usage has increased from 10 seconds to 14 seconds. Additionally, it restores 14% of health over 15 seconds, far better than all the others. He's already stunned. Oh wait, and Alchemist. Not even the guys who call themselves alchemists have alchemist skills. He's never even heard of a 14-second healing potion. Shaking it, he realizes it's an excellent potion. However, he's not very capitalistic. He doesn't even know how much to charge. The product is so good that it's hard to sell. Not to mention, who's going to believe that other consumption drops to 0 for 14 seconds? Who, you ask? She's already entering the shop. "Hi, Jen." Our boy immediately asks, "How can I help you?" She gets straight to the point. "Potion. How many of you have? I want them now." Before he can respond, she gets closer. "This is a health potion, isn't it?" He says yes, but before he can say anything else, she asks what its effect is. He tries to explain that it's not for sale, but she cuts him off again. "Sorry, but I don't have time." She grabs it and leaves. Wow, what just happened? She left some money on his table saying, "If that's not enough, call my guy to Crest, they'll pay more. Bye." The warrior has already arrived at the dungeon, drawn her swords, killed 3 beasts, and is already running. That's productivity. The guys who collect the items for her are a bit embarrassed. This is the power of a ranked 12. I can't even see what's happening. However, the one in white says, "But this way we won't evolve at all." The other guy says, "Friend, it's the sword, which even if you wanted to, you wouldn't evolve, just collect the resources and stay quiet." But then comes the drama, and the guy says, "I understand her too. If it were the old Hygiene, she would have definitely told us to hunt together, but since that incident, she's changed completely and hunts." Own, the other guy, asks what incident, and he responds, "Well, you probably don't know because you're a beginner." Right at that moment, Hygiene appears, telling them to run. They seem confused, but soon see it. A man's talker and a version-level creature, extremely armored and with powerful poison. The Tor are already shocked. Why isn't a version-level creature here? They only appear in level 4 dungeons. Hygiene continues, "I told you to run, get out of here." She charges at the beast, drawing her great sword, but the beast defends and strikes, leaving her trembling. Damn, I've already used all my other, at least I want time for them to escape. The 2 guys are also running at a snail's pace. She thinks, if only Sonya were here, but she's motivated. No, he's no longer here. Now I can only rely on myself. In this potion, she drinks it all and is confused. It's the first time she's had such a delicious potion, not to mention she feels her other is increasing significantly. Now she can win this. She goes back into the fight using the tumult of the sword, slashing and cutting relentlessly. The beast is divided and falls hard to the ground. However, she immediately notices, "Wait, something's wrong. My health is recovering. and I felt my father wasn't decreasing. I managed to use the sword tumult for 10 seconds straight. Normally I use it for a maximum of 3. Could it be because of that potion? Who is that guy from the shop? Ma'am? She doesn't waste time. In the next second she's opened the door and entered one. She asks that potion. What was that? Our boy's completely confused. The guys in the back are talking, and it looks like everyone knows she killed the man's stalker alone. She apologizes for being rude. Our boy says it's okay. But was there a problem with the potion he gave? She says yes, she's never seen a potion that heals 14% of health and reduces other cost. Our boy being Mavage says, I heard you killed an aversion level creature alone. Incredible. She bangs on the table. That's not the point. That potion you gave me, where did you get it? Or did you make it yourself? He shows her the ale and says, I use this. She asks this. Yes, a solar ale, I found by chance in a level 0 dungeon. She asks, a solar ale in a level 0 dungeon. As far as I know, this item isn't that common. Our boy obviously doesn't want to tell anyone he has the force of abundance. While I'm glad my potion helped you, Sade is trying to change the subject. She points to the side and asks what's that. He replies it's an ice resistance potion. She wants to know the effect. Awkwardly, he says, I think it gives the 32% ice resistance for 40 minutes. She's stunned again. The best potions on the market offer 10% resistance for a maximum of 15 minutes. This one is like 10 times better. So she wants to know where he found this. Our boy remembers that when he was in the garden world, he found some winter strawberries and used them to make the potion. His alchemy is already at level 2. He says again, yeah, I found it in the level 0 dungeon. She realizes right away that he's lying and says, I won't ask her anymore since it makes you uncomfortable, but sell everything to me. Everything he asks. She throws money on the table saying, I'll pay in cash. I don't even want a receipt. Our boy says it's too much money. She walks away saying it doesn't matter. However, she asked his name. Our boy says it's Jaha. She thinks and says it's a beautiful name, looking all sweet. She replies, see you next time, Jaha. The scene then shifts to our boy back in the forest. Each time he's returning with more stuff, however he starts to question this place. Is very strange, there are so many rare resources and no monsters at all. Where am I? He hears some movement nearby. Slowly he walks to see what it is. He says he's sure something was around here when he sees it. There's a beetle called a pterodrone, a mythical monster, a creature the size of a small car that resembles a beetle with giant claws. Our protagonist recognizes the creature instantly. However, strangely, they are very small here. They're supposed to be car-sized. He wants to pass, but there's some barrier protecting them. Then some evil ants appear, and the little creatures start fighting. Our boy watches and says, why are they killing each other? The problem is that these demon ants are extremely dangerous. But again, they are supposed to be the size of a truck, but they're small here. However, he sees the Tyrones being crushed, all crying. Our protagonist wonders why are they fighting, and at this rate they will lose. Can I help? The system then gives a notification. The war between your terror drones and the demon ants has begun. Do you want to help your legion? Yes or no? Our protagonist? What I can intervene in this? Even stranger, it says my terror drones. Well, if that's the case, then yes, your legion is losing. You can use an essence buff to improve the chances of victory. Increase HP by 30% for 1 hour. Increase poison resistance, increased physical resistance, or the worker's blessing, which costs 2 essences. Our boy thinks he understands and says, I can't help directly, but I can provide assistance. Walking around, he had found these essences used for buffs, and he has just 2. Since the last option is more expensive, it's probably the best, so he applies the worker's blessing. The little creatures feel the energy flowing into them. Empowered, they start smashing all the ants. They quickly win, and our boy is delighted. Wow, this is crazy. He approaches the terror drones and thanks them for defending the forest. However, the cute creatures start giving him lots of essence. He gives a little smile, and the creature looks a bit confused. It only takes 5, saying they can keep the rest. This is more than enough for me. He says after all, they were the ones who fought for their lives without the wall, and the fog in the place disappeared. He thinks I was planning to stay here for just a bit today, but it looks like I won't be leaving anytime soon. The next chapter begins by talking about the Hunter's website and the various communities that were created when all this started. Currently, the Sword Witch hygiene is ranked 12, and we see some users discussing the possibility of her killing that creature alone, being alive until someone turns on the light and asks, are you a zombie girl? That's Chutian, the top alchemist of the Flame Guild. The redhead says she can concentrate better when it's dark, but asks if he managed to solve what she asked him to. He says he went in person. The guy is a hunter with the lowest rank of all, no special characteristics. Uchiha. And as expected, I didn't see anything strange about him. The redhead responds, then maybe he has nothing to do with hygiene getting stronger. Shukshane says, I don't know, he was selling something special. Do you know what solar apple is? She says no. He then explains that the solar apple is something no one knows about, but the boy does. It's an item that drastically reduces ether consumption, and I had never even seen one in person until I went there. And the strangest thing is he made a potion using it and was selling it for a cheap price. The redhead then comments, what if the apple is real? It's impossible for it to be cheap. He tries to explain that, with this there are only two options. First, he doesn't know the real value of a solar ale, or she completes. He's a person without any greed. She gets up and says, you know what? I need some fresh air. I'll go see him. The guy asks if she wants him to prepare a car. She says, what? I'm not the boss of the company. He says she is. However, she responds that he is in an esteemed position tramway and the master of the Eternal Guild. Back in the Forest of Abundance, Chief feels a bit chilly, but he brought a lighter, remembering that after the barrier fell, he didn't see anything much different. Of course, he still hasn't fully explored. There's an area that seems extremely dangerous. He can feel it, and for now he's not keen on putting himself in danger, so he decides to return. At that moment, the little beetles appear again, carrying some things confused. Says it's you guys again. What are you carrying a chasing flower? Shiva asks, is this for me? The little beetles happily nod yes. He notices that one of them is a bit larger than the others, and is always at the front. He says you're different. Are you the leader? They don't really respond. Our boy asks, did you come from that scary place? At that moment, a mission appears. The Terror. Request your help to rescue their queen. Do you accept the mission to rescue the queen? So these seeds from the Miss Hunter flower are a common request. Jihad muses. Since you protected the forest, I'll see what I can do. I also fear that place, but I'll see what I can do. The little beetles are all cute. Eager. However, for this you will have to prepare a few things. So if they plan to do it tomorrow, the next day. He has made a healing potion, poison resistance potions, and a lot of food rations. Everyone is prepared. With everyone buffed up, he says, let's go rescue the queen. As he approaches, he sees it. The thing exuding the purple aura is the nest of the demonic ants. It's at least 3 meters high. No more delays. The battle is about to begin. The fight is intense. Wow. The protagonist is impressed. The Terror drone are winning more easily than last time, but the poison is still hurting them. The system then says he has the right to use a power once to help them. He can bring the flying demonic ants to the ground with one slap, but it will cost the 3 essences. Our boy is confused. 1 slap and I can only use it once. What am I supposed to do with that? Then he sees at the top of the nest and winged and appears. It's a messenger. The system warns him that if this ant gets away, it will bring back the main army. He looks at his hand and wonders, so I can stop her message for the slap. Let's see. He activates the ability, and just as the little ant is flying, she sees the massive hand coming. Man, it was a slap indeed. I thought it was some power, but it was the protagonist himself. The next chapter starts with Ryan visiting our boys. Shop in front, she thinks. This is the place that sells the solar apple. From the outside, it looks like any other shop, but who knows what secrets are hidden here, especially since she was informed that Hagen managed to hunt that creature after visiting this place. So I'll enter and find out if... But she notices it's closed, but the sign says it's open. She wonders if he went to the bathroom. She asks the laughing guy nearby, don't they open today? The guy responds, I'm not sure. They haven't opened since yesterday. Actually, the young man who runs this place seems to have something going on. She asks the guy why isn't he opening frequently. The guy responds that young people today aren't like they used to be. No professionalism, she thinks. Wait, is this change recent? It seems that this Yujafa is hiding something. Back with our boy. He's impressed with the slap. He gave the other answer sweating. Meanwhile, the beetles are now motivated. They charge forward as the ants flee crime. A little later, the beetles are celebrating at his feet. However, he asks, aren't you going to rescue your queen? When he looks, some little beetles are already bringing her on a stretcher. The queen warrior is all battered. She tries to get up to talk to Jarga. He tells her not to strain herself. You've done enough, you can rest. The system then says the Queen of the Terror Drones wants a former sworn alliance with you. If you accept, you will be sponsored by the Terror Drums and receive various items. It also says that Jihad will have to fulfill their requests. Our boy says there's nothing to think about. Of course I'll accept. After all, they can help each other. The system then says you and the Terror Drone are now allies. You can now sponsor them more directly. The little general from before then evolves into a Terradrome warrior. Our boy impressed says, wow, now he really looks like a general. He calls the squad and they bring a bunch of stuff to him. Greyka, embarrassed, sees it again. He says he doesn't need all this. I'd be happy with just 10 essences and a little ether. He wonders what those. They gave him our wild grape seed and tree fruit seed, while her boy says he'll just plant them and wait to see what grows. He finds it strange that a tree grows a fruit. How's that possible? He thinks, well, whatever, the forest will take care of it. The plan now is to build a new cabin the next day in some other dungeon. The guys are talking. Are you sure, though? And Queen is here, homie. He responds, of course she is. We'll make a lot of money if we steal her nest. But another guy says, hey, wait a minute, what's that? The quest is already completed. Human says, what are you talking about, you fool? We just got here. When they look, the nest is empty. The guy in the back says, huh, did someone from another region clear it out? The knight says, you don't know that once a dungeon is cleared, it doesn't open again like this. The guy thinks, damn, how did this happen to us? The guy at the front says to the other man, I don't know what happened, but it looks like there was an attack. I didn't see any answer at all when the guy said. The knight replied, that's impossible, man. Look around. There has to be some trace of them. Then one of them said, yum, take a look at the ground. Young asked, the ground? What? Will look at that handprint. They wondered. Who could have done this? One of the guys questioned, isn't this the shape of a palm? Is this the work of a giant? Another guy said, man, but at this size, it must be a creature of at least destruction level. One of them started running, shouting, let's get out of here. One of them told the group, do you think we have any chance against a creature that single-handedly wiped out the entire ant nest for male retreat? Now we'll die without even knowing. Happened. Let's get back to the association. We then see some guys in an office examining the protagonist palm mark. The important group successor, Kyung-suk, said this was at the ant nest, right? If anything else happens, let me know. The guy was just thinking, this palm isn't from an ordinary monster, and it's too big to be an evolution of some other species. It's some creature we don't know about. Could something above destruction? Income appeared, looking out the window. He thought, I just hope the terrible thing doesn't happen again. We didn't see our protagonists in Area 5 of the city. He was waiting there until a girl came running and shouting Jiked. She looked like a sister version. Could this be the case, though? She fell to the ground like a klutz. Some up saying it's all okay. The book is safe. He says, that's not what I'm worried about. This crazy-headed girl is Sunio, the only origami hunter in Korea. She says it's been a while since I left the house. I forgot how to walk. Clearly she's a book addict, and that's how she and the protagonist became best friends. He hands her the package saying, have you had breakfast? Jumiya asked me to give this to you. She thanks him and gives in a little book. Our boy asks why. She says she went to a bookstore, and the seller was sad, saying everyone who took this book always returned it, so she bought it and brought it to him. Our protagonist says a book that everyone returns is kind of scary, isn't it? When he looks at it, he already sees it has mana and aura there. And the system gives a notification. You have acquired the infinite spell book. To write a spell in this book, you need the feather of the Thunderbird, and ink. Our boy asks, are you sure the guy didn't want this book? She says yes, there's nothing written in it, and he only used it as decoration. She tried to write something, but it didn't work. The protagonist thinks a book with nothing written in it must have something to do with this notification just now, and she probably didn't get the notification since she's giving it to him like this. She says sorry if you don't want it. He says no, I like it. I'll keep it. I'll use it wisely. Back at the shop, he tries to rig the pencil, but it doesn't work. He knows he'll need that Thunderbird feather. The system gives information. Thunderbird, a colossal and extremely rare creature with a wingspan of 25 meters. Our boy thinks, I'll have to get that. Not to mention it's rare. How is he going to locate such a thing? He thinks, I'll be another person who uses this as decoration. However, when he touches the book, he receives the good penmanship trait and an ancient magic skill. He stares at his own hand thinking what out of nowhere again. But he didn't feel any different. But getting this skill now isn't a coincidence. He grabs a piece of paper that was nearby and manages to write about the bird. He even levels up his penmanship skill. However, even with that you can't write in the book, but he wrote there 25-meter. Bird. Giant bird. Very difficult to capture. The big feature of this skill is that his handwriting got a lot prettier, at least. But then he feels something happening nearby. He runs outside. A gate opens in front of the shop. Difficulty 0. Target Thunderbird feather. Time limit 1 hour. He thinks, wait, what? It goes straight to the bird's nest. Could this be an effect? The good penmanship skill. The aura seems dangerous, but it's ranked 0, so it shouldn't be a problem, right? Well, let's go. He enters and immediately sees a waterfall. Thinking it really did let him in, she asks, "Is this the habitat of the tree? It doesn't seem like it can accommodate a giant bird." But then the bird appears, it flaps its wings above him, and he goes flying. Jihad exclaims, "How am I supposed to hunt? That it's as big as a house." However, some feathers start falling. The bird flies away, seemingly saying, "Use your junk." Well, he wonders, wait, it's leaving. He picks up a feather, already acquiring the Thunderbird feather. He thinks, how could this be so easy with the feathers now in hand? He just needs the ink. He smiles, already having an idea. He calls the terror drones to bring some green. Extract, he thinks, his little friends, and thinks that now the preparations are complete, he's ready to solve the mystery of the infinite spellbook. Standing there ready to write, he thinks, I wonder what kind of magic is in this book. Well, I'll find out for myself. He touches the feather to the book, and a lot of magical stuff starts happening. He begins floating, and the magic spreads throughout the forest. When he gets up, he recognizes it. Immediately, he thinks these are runic words, something he had seen in a book a long time ago. The legend of an ancient tree that taught a tribe 4 types of magic: creation, harmony, change, and destruction. However, it was extremely difficult to control these magical powers until they discovered the runic words on an expedition. Upon researching, he understands. So the ancient tree of the world, about that, tried the 4 main magical powers. The comprehension was very difficult, so they were divided into runic words. However, he had never heard of these runic words in his life. He wonders if maybe there's some way to use them with this book. Staring at the tree, he sees that runes appear on the pages when he used this book. He questions why they were engraved on the tree and not in the book. He remembers that this is the tree he watered when he first arrived here. But he's sure it's impossible that the small tree is the world tree. He thinks to himself, I don't know when these ruins will disappear, so it's better to write them down. But will something happen just by putting these symbols in the book? She had to feel something strange. Even though it's the first time he's seen these ruins, he kind of understands their meaning. And when is engraved on the tree says destruction, the fire will set everything ablaze. The kid is a bit crazy. As he reads this and writes it in the book, the system then says scroll to change destruction increases the destructive power of a magical run. He's overjoyed. Wow. So if I write the runs they turn into scrolls use, well if that's the case, just tear it out, right? He cuts it, and it turns into a scroll. He says he's going to write about 99 more of these, and he realizes the page he tore out is regenerated. That's why it's called an infinite spellbook. Staring at the book, he knows he can write as much as he wants. All he needs is ink, which isn't even that hard to get. The only problem is he doesn't know exactly how the scroll works. Increase the destruction and power of a magical room is all it says. Since he doesn't have any magic, he can't test it. They'll need to manage to make it work. Oh, Leprous already in the shop. Come here, he's sly one. I'm going to use you for the scroll. She asked our boy, Are you a hunter, Graya? He replies that he is. She runs up to him, finally meet. Jihad is startled as she shouts in his face. You're hard to find, aren't you? Do you know how many times I've come to the shop just to find you? Our protagonist thinks this one is tough. He apologizes, saying it's due to personal circumstances. Have had to close frequently. Looking him in the eye, she thinks just as true unsaid. He doesn't seem special at all. Our boy wonders why does she staring at me so coldly, but she thinks of herself, whatever my purpose here is in him. But the items he sells, she apologizes and says she understands his circumstances. But anyway, sorry for the late introduction, but she is the leader of the Eternal Flame. Build way in, and she heard he sells special items in his shop. He agrees and she starts to say something, but he interrupts. You're talking about the solar apple? Argue or are you looking for a winter strawberry? She says that's right, but he continues. Those items are the most famous here in the shop these days. Wait a moment, since you've come here several times without success, I'll give you some things. She thinks, is she really that easy to get things from? She's very confused, but our boy says, hey customer, we're out of stock. She asks, what do you mean? Our boy remembers that he got so focused on playing with the terror drones and writing runs in the book that he forgot to make potions. So he tells her, if you come back tomorrow, I'll prepare them for you. Sorry again. She thinks to herself. Yeah, I can't even say anything. Clearly he's sad. Is he kind or stupid or both? She turns to leave, saying, well, nothing to do then, since you have nothing to sell. Sadly, she was away thinking to herself, I'll come back tomorrow. I just wanted to go to the dungeon. But then our boy says, wait a moment. You said you're the leader of the Eternal Flame Guild, right? Are you the fire mage? Yes. Why she got hands or the scroll, and says, Ah, great, then test this out. I'm sure it'll make an explosive meteor bomb. She looks at it and asks, what's this? A scroll? The protagonist responds, yes, it's a fire scroll I made yesterday for testing. I'm giving it to you so I don't feel bad for letting you leave empty-handed. She says, since it's from you, I won't refuse. She activates it, and the shop explodes with a fiery message. The flames will set everything ablaze. She says she likes that phrase, and we'll see him tomorrow. He replies, ah, okay my customer, see you soon. But you notice this something. The staff on her back is glowing much more than when she entered. We then see her in the spider dungeon. They've just defeated the central spider, are marching forward. Our redhead is throwing fireballs. However, she finds it strange. Her fire powers are much stronger. With one hit, the creatures fall dead. Not to mention the run on her staff won't stop glowing. But she gets a bit distracted and almost gets hit by a purple venom. She manages to dodge. The guy next to her asks, are you okay, leader? She says she's fine. She just finds it strange that there are many more spiders than expected. The guy apologizes again, saying that in forest dungeons there are many variables. But she wants they can go back and reorganize. She says no, forget it. We'll continue forward no matter what. But the cautious mate says it's better we go back. You don't need to push yourself so hard. But the warrior is on fire today. She says, don't worry, I feel like I can beat anything. She starts creating summoning circles. Watch out, here comes the fire on all the spiders. Everything begins to burn. The guys are impressed, saying what's going on. Leader, when did you level up so much you killed everyone by yourself? She's questioning herself. Wait, something strange. I've never had this much power. Could it be that scroll from that sly guy back at the protagonist shop? He's finished the production. Phew. This should be enough, right? He prepared a bunch of solar potions and some old resistance potions now just waiting for Quan, who said she would come in the morning. He looks back. Ah, welcome Waylon. I made the potions you asked for. But his thoughts he never says she's accompanied Quan. Says Hunter Uchiha, can we buy the potions later and have a little chat? Suddenly she throws down the suitcase full of money. Whoa, what's this weigh-in? She responds. What do you think it is? Money. Are you a type who doesn't care about money? Now I understand why you sell these potions at such a low price. He says that's not the case. Everyone likes money. Like he feels awkward about her giving so much money. She explains it's because of the scroll he gave her yesterday. It has an extremely strong effect. It's definitely something above Scrade. She says the scroll is so powerful it's almost theft for her to take it without paying. And besides, if she didn't give something in return, she wouldn't feel right. He says he understands, but in his thoughts he's impressed. As he expected. The infinite spellbook is really amazing. She says if he doesn't want cash, he can just give his bank account details. But our protagonist is very kind and courteous. He says he's very grateful but doesn't have the right to accept the money. She asks, what do you mean? He says, as I told you, the scroll was an apology for making you wait. I'm not honorable enough to take all this money, he thinks. Whatever, I just wanted to give her the scroll as a test. She says, Jihad, don't you know in an instant a good person can become a fool? What do you think happens if a chicken gives golden eggs to everyone for free? What will happen to those people? Our boy responds, everyone will get rich. Wayne replies, of course not. Once this spreads to the public, the chicken will become everyone's target. That's why your ability is amazing but extremely dangerous right now. You understand, the protagonist replies. I understand, Waylon says. Good. If you understand, I want to make you an offer, Jihad. You want to join the Eternal Flame Guild out of the blue? Yes. She says, I know my introduction was a bit negative when I first came here, but it was only because I was worried about you. Our guild is extremely ethical and never harms people, and the reason I brought them money was to prove that we can reward you for your abilities, she says. But the Eternal Flame is already a very well-known guild. You didn't need to do all this to prove yourself. She says she wanted to show that such a famous guild really likes him. Besides, we have many mages in our guild. They also have many alchemists. 2. Human. The chief alchemist speaks up in a distorted voice. I love Eternal Flame. Juan continues, mentioning their numerous production facilities. You would have the opportunity to conduct extensive research. Your salary and benefits would be as high as you desire. You didn't have the authority of a chief or higher Jihad. Probably. Torn listens as she continues. Join our guild. Jita interrupts. I appreciate all your kindness. Wayan initially celebrating, then realizes something. Wait, you only accept kindness? You don't want to join? But why? Our terms are so generous. He explains. As I said, it's a bit too much for me. I'm sure there are people more qualified than me to join the guild. Quan insists. Please, you're more than capable, the guy behind her says. All right, leader, let's calm down, she responds. No, he's belittling himself too much. He can't be like this, Jihad explains. Originally, I was a hunter with the lowest rank without any attributes. The reason I can make these special items isn't due to my abilities, it's because of luck, and my friends like the beetles, and my friend who gave him the book. Everything that happened to me was because of fortune and my friends. My abilities might disappear one day. That's why I don't have the confidence to accept this offer. I don't know how long I can keep doing this. Besides, I'm very attached to this place to leave just like that. She was confused, but the guy behind her speaks. Leader. It seems changing his mind won't be easy. Let's respect his wishes. She remains puzzled. She says, of course, thanks to your advice, I will be more careful. I will start charging a little more for the potions. She quickly responds, don't tell anyone it was me who made you charge more. She sighs. Well, I don't like this. It feels like being rejected in a relationship, but I have no choice. If you ever need help or get into any danger, just call me. Grau reassures her. It's okay if any danger approaches this guy. You will alert me. He points to a small bell plant, which makes a sound when danger is near. The story then transitions to the postgate world, illustrating how difficult it is to live in nature. Seas, beaches, forests, and mountains are overrun by monsters, but the Forest of Dream is a place Jihad can enjoy. This is truly calming. The sea is the best place for a headache, he says, marveling at the environment. I felt my dream would only have forests, but there's you may see here. This place feels like paradise on earth. The plan was to spend more time in the shop than the forest, but this morning has exhausted him. Clearly I'm not the best shopkeeper. Whatever, I'll take some time to recover, eat a lot, and read a lot of books. I'm tired of all of this, he reflects, spending some alone time in the forest reading until he falls asleep. Little does he know, unexpected visitors are on their way. 2 hours earlier, Gio was reading happily, thinking it was peaceful. Hearing the sound of the sea is extremely rare nowadays, because the coasts are overrun by monsters. Being in a cave like this feels like a blessing. He thought it would be nice to bring his friends here when he heard something next to him, a cat's meow. He went to check without fear. The danger plant didn't make any noise, so it must be safe. He noticed a beetle flying in that direction. She thought, why is it going there? When he arrived, he found Actos, a creature too big to be a cat, but not large enough to be a tiger. Clearly, who was injured. Gio wondered if he should offer help. The Terra drone came up and tapped his shoulder. He turned to see, and the Terra drones brought some fish. These beetles work at lightning speed, he thought, happy with their help. He petted the creature, feeling content in the present. Actos had eaten the fish and take a potion, finally stopping trembling. She was curious, wondering, I didn't expect animals in this forest. Where did you come from? He asked the cat, who meowed in response. He apologized for waking it and continued petting it. He thought about a name since Actos didn't fit. Since it resembled a tiger, he decided to call it Beam, which means tiger in Korean. She just said, if you don't have a place to go, come with me. He wondered, can I take it to the shop? When Wayne arrived at the shop, she was startled. What's that? He said, this is BM. Wayne exclaimed, no, it's a tiger. Our boy is confused. I didn't imagine she would be scared. Hygiene brings the coffee, and our boy says you're giving this to me for free. But at that moment, he had already stepped back because the kitten was approaching. Our protagonist apologizes. He's going to live here with me from now on. I didn't think you would be afraid. However, he notices that Beam is standing still, smiling. He wants you to pet him. Hygiene approaches awkwardly and pets him, thinking he's soft and fluffy. It seems like he's only a tiger and mane. She says, Hygiene continues. I heard you gave away some scrolls. Free. Everyone on the internet is talking about it, he replies. Oh right, it was for the leader of the Eternal Flame Guild. Jung thinks he gave away scrolls worth more than 100 million for free. That he have no ambition. Or does he just stubborn? It's clear he has been living like this for a long time now, calculating things too much without greed. He tries to make others feel comfortable. That's why I always want to come back to the shop. Beam is there, biting at G's clothes. At that moment, the danger plant suddenly starts shaking. He thinks, what suddenly could it be? A city-wide alert comes level 4 catastrophe warning. All residents in the vicinity must evacuate immediately. Hydrogen turns to him, saying they need to evacuate urgently. Outside tanks have arrived, ordering everyone to evacuate. Our boy is there with his white cat in the crowd. The level 4 catastrophe is very dangerous. She knows they will need many strong hunters. He just hopes they can handle it. Sometime later, they arrive at the bunker. The gram has already shaken. Everyone there is crying. She thinks to himself, is it too early to feel safe? He pets BM, who is also scared. I hope it's nothing. Thinks above. The catastrophe is ongoing. This happens when hunters enter a dungeon and fail. When a mission fails in a lower-level dungeon, it's not very difficult, but it's a completely different story when a level 4 or higher dungeon fails. The government has a plan to evacuate all civilians within a 20 kilometers area. Snipers are positioned everywhere, calling all hunters to be ready. Man, this is the first functioning government I've seen. Gryo thinks in front of everyone. Hijab announces the coming. The first things to appear are giant skeletons. The army is here. Missiles propose explosions. Look at that, the military is actually doing something. Himzio analyzing recognizes it must have been a dungeon with weak monsters, but with the amount of combat power they have it shouldn't be too difficult. He tells the army to shoot only those coming out of the gate while they focus on the ones escaping. Unless there's another variable, we'll win. Then a giant hand appears. He recognizes it immediately. A monstrous level creature. He changes the plan instantly. Focus everyone on that giant beast. Missiles, bombs, bullets. The torpedo hits its mouth and explodes. Still intact, the creature glares at everyone. Dangerous enemies must be killed. It charges forward. Himzo yells for everyone to dodge. Fred, you better dodge. You're about to get crushed and massive bait. The creature passes over them, heading towards the shelter, but Hygiene jumps in the way. Who allowed you to go to the shelter using her sword? Tumult. Will it work? She wonders. Hlan is also there. She has the scroll. She blasts it with a laser, but the creature doesn't even turn around. It keeps moving straight. It punches her in the gut. Man, you're in trouble. Weigh in, the crazy maid shouts. Don't chase it. If you don't defend, who will save the people? The creature faces Jihad and says, I found you. Our enemy, Gugu thinks, wait, the barrier was broken so easily. This means they're not winning. Sighed, but his legs are paralyzed. He tries to move, but he can't. When he finally does, the creature is about to grab him, but Beam tugs him back and unleashes an ice barrage. Standing in front of Jihad, staring down the creature. The creature trembles. What are you scared? In its mind, the creature hears BB him saying, you are an inferior beast. Leave now, seeing from behind Hygiene and... Way unrealized has stopped. We need to take this chance. Fires a massive shot of fire enveloping her sword and flames slicing through the beast. The creature is now charred. She falls to the ground exhausted. Hao Yan asks, is it over? Hygiene replies, no, I feel a massive amount of ether inside the kitten. Now all cute in Geo's arms. Sometime later, ambulances are taken away. Injured, Hygiene feels the concentration of ether has disappeared. Looking at Beyond, she thinks, did that come from him? Our boy is now at home after taking a bath, thinking about the crazy day, petting Beyond. He thinks he seems so terrifying at that moment, but now he's so calm. The protagonist keeps thinking about the creature and decides to write about it. Just have it recorded. Monstrous creature, 15 meters. Call ugly as hell, and very strong. There's a website that records all monsters, but no one knows how Kato manages to register new ones. However, strangely, when our boy wrote in the book, it also got added to the wiki. Young Suk is confused. What? How are these entries being updated? But our boy is just calmly recording everything. The scene then shifts to a hunter's meeting. They are discussing the monster, and especially the fact that they think it wasn't one of their hunters who killed it. Nobody knows why the creature got stuck after breaking the wall. Couldn't have been one of the humans inside, they wonder. But that doesn't make sense. How could a human have so much power? Young says, did you see that the wiki was updated? For the first time in a long while, something is coming among us. Or something powerful enough to scare even that creature. Hygiene speculates either the person who scared it was inside, or it's a hunter with an ability we don't know about yet. Juan explains that several people present reported hearing a cat scream when the creature froze. Hyungzik dismisses it. It doesn't matter, that's not important, Wei-in responds. Maybe, but inside was the potion shop owner, with his snow leopard, and since the creature froze, the three of them, into our protagonist shop. He creates them. Hi, how are you? They barged in without a word, all three of them slamming the table. Where's the cat? We want to see it Beyond. We'll get scared with you acting so desperate. Grya says. Byam, who was nearby, jumps on the table and stretches. The three of them look at him all confused. William picks him up and asks, hey, is this the cat that caused that ether wave? He looks like a normal cat. Gimi warns her it's better not to hold him like that. But she doesn't care, and grabs him saying she doesn't feel any other coming from him. Impossible for him to have so much other to cause such an explosion without it being detectable. BM bites her arm. Cheyenne says, I warned you. You need to be careful with him. Hidden ads. I heard you were in the shelter when the explosion happened. Many people said they heard a cat sound before the creature froze. Our protagonist responds, crazy, isn't it? Young suggests his glasses. I think they're just false rumors. Poor Young's sick, looking at Win and thinking I wanted to recruit this guy for our guild, but it's not the right time. Little does he know she's already been rejected. As they leave, Quan says, aren't you going to ask to join the guild? I wanted to see you get rejected. Meanwhile, Hyjin gives him a little smile. Trying to seduce our boy, huh? She says, I'll be back, he replies, anytime. But our boy isn't interested in that. Sometime later, he's relaxing in the forest, reading a book about the continent of Gehenna, a place where various species live together with the Great Tree. The Great Tree created creatures considered the gods of nature to protect Gehenna. One of the descriptions mentioned a creature that looked like a cat, with white fur and black spots. Staring at BM, Jeff thinks, wait, is he a god of nature? But this cat is so small he doesn't seem like a god. However, considering how he stopped that creature, it might make sense. It's not a coincidence, as they said there was an ether explosion. Greika continues thinking it was probably be him who did that. Does this prove he's a god of nature? Maybe then the tree in my dream really is. Everything starts to make sense. It's as if the tree is giving him a task. Everything began when he received the worker class. Helping the terror drones to saving beyond all seemed to be part of a bigger plan. At that moment, the book next to him glows, and the most unusual thing is that in the class it's written Worker of X Purtu. What does this mean? Suddenly it's like a hashbang from CS blinding him. In the next chapter, we see a girl in an isolated room watching TV. A news report is talking about bombing somewhere. Back to the protagonist. He's staring at the tree, saying it was you, wasn't it? Who brought me to this forest of dreams? I have no idea why you gave me such an important task, but there must be a reason, so I'll do my best to help you at that moment. Purple tornado appears beside him, and something begins to form. Heaters. A voice saying, curse everything that breathes, bring death to all living beings. A skeleton appears. No, not just one whole horde of skeletons emerges in his forest. He recognizes the creature as an ancient lich, a creature of terror level. Oh my god, look at the size. This is a disaster. He thinks it's almost cute. Being so small, the lich commands kneel before the master. The system then notifies him. The ancient lich is corrupting the nearby lands and will soon reach yours. Although an immediate counterattack is difficult, you want to try to reduce its influence. Our boy obviously agrees. Below, the lich is calling everyone. What's bizarre now is imagining if this cat is the size of a normal one. If the lich, it should be much bigger, is tiny. How big is this cat really? The lich is marching with his minions. Our boy just wants to give a slap. If that's not an option, he remembers that liches don't die unless you destroy their life source, and the system gives him that exact mission. Plus, you will also need to purify the nearby lands that the lich has corrupted. Far away, he sees a little castle and recognizes it. He's seen it. Somewhere before, it's the banner of the kingdom of Estrin. Could these skeletons, the liches controlling me, the people from there? He decides not to dwell on it. The important thing now is to reclaim this place. And since he can't intervene directly, he will have to use the army he calls the terror drones. The problem is that the only one who can fly is his warrior. Everyone else is stuck because there's a big rock in the way. Our boy has two options. You can either spend an essence to remove the rock or let the terror drones handle it. Since he's in a hurry, he spends the essence. Tell them to go one-on-one. Jihad says, the duel begins and our boy watches the battle. Now that they're strengthened, they really look like a troop. The ledge tries to send more soldiers, but it's not working. He raises his staff to cast a spell. A spell was an area of effect, but just as he's about to strike the staff, on the ground activated, the Terra drone warrior arrives and stops him. Our boy sighs in relief. The blessing came at the perfect time. They snatch the staff from the lich's hand and throw him to the ground. He's getting pulverized. There's only gravel left of him. But the lich is confident. No matter, it's just an undead body. However, Gia realizes that he had already sent someone to find the Lissa's life. Of course, but the terror drone who found it isn't strong enough to destroy it because of this. Yeah, has to spend 5 essences to evolve him into a warrior to take advantage of the lich being in pieces. He spends it. The creature begins to evolve, gaining armor and all. I thought he had evolved the one in the chest, but he evolved the big one, making it even stronger. The lich reconstructing itself screams desperately to stop. But there's no time. The terror drone headbutts. The chest is integrating the lich. Our boy, all happy, celebrates. We won. The troop brings several little chests. It's funny because the chests are small in their hands, but probably gigantic in real life. She feels a bit embarrassed and thanks them. The little creatures are also embarrassed. The strongest Terra Jerome brings a chest, which when placed before him, returns to its real size. Our boy greedily opens it. Inside there's the Sword of the Estrum Rain. You make priority +5 to mentality and charisma of the conqueror. Really, I'm just a worker. I don't have any attack stats. He thinks he would like to return it to the rifle owner, but looking at the destroyed castle he imagines the owner is long dead. So he stores it in his glitchy backpack, pulls out his little spade and begins fixing the soil of the region. He's dumping cursed dirt into a bucket to purify it, when one of the terror drones suggests you write a scroll using the ink. Jihad replies, "There's no room, my friend, just that maroon appears on the tree." What a coincidence. Well, if that's the case, let's write it. Purification Ruin restores land to its original state. BM jumps on him and he plays with him, while the Terra drone uses the scroll and brings it to him. Scroll of Harmony cleanses any corrupted land, but suddenly all the Terror drones disappear. The scene shifts to a completely different place, where someone says this is our land death to all who destroy our peace. The people there cover their ears, wondering where the sound is coming from. Suddenly the star shines in the sky, and the Lich appears with his army announcing this land has now been given to us. However, another portal opens next to the Lich and out comes a gigantic figure. The Lich glares. Cursed race of the tree. The Terradrome smashes most of them. The Lich tries to retaliate with magic, but now that he's evolved, he's much more resilient. The Lich stands no chance and is easily pulverized. The scene returns to Jihad's shop when someone rushes in, grabs the remote and turns on the TV shouting. Watch the News shows a report on the battle against the Lich. The land that was purple and cursed is suddenly purified. Officials say this means the Lich has been eliminated. Geo wonders what's happening on TV. He sees the terror drone flying in the sky. Everyone is confused about how such a disaster disappeared so suddenly. Jihad back at the shop wonders why was the terror drone. Young, sick at the company, recognizes it wasn't a destruction-level disaster. His colleague confirms yes, they were mythical monsters. Everyone is confused, not knowing what's happening. Girl returns to the world of the tree and speaks urgently to the terror drone. Hey, you need to have a chat. The creatures are all embarrassed. He just says you didn't do anything wrong, so don't worry, but I want to know. The ones who used the scroll, and did you appear on Jury Island? The creatures don't respond and run off, bringing a bunch of rewards. Jenna asks, hey, are you trying to silence me with this? I just want to know if you appeared on Jerry Island. The creatures, all embarrassed, say nothing. She got pets them. I'm not scolding you, I just want to be sure it was you. But anyway, good job. They leave 10 others, and 10 instances. Shohads always thinks it's too much. Just that giant stone from the ancient lich is worth millions of dollars. Do you want to play with this? Jia hands it over. Alright then. The creature starts munching the whole stone. Chungyan understands immediately. He's using it as an energy source beyond all happy. Well, what can you do? Creatures of the gods are incomprehensible now. Mia has 15 essences. It's time to boost his stats a bit. He advances to 9 and strengthen 8 in endurance. Well, our boy become a fighter. He wonders, am I stronger? Not sure. However, the reason for getting stronger is to make planting easier. He doesn't want to become obsessed with power. He's already content here. Back at the shop, Tyr receives an invitation to participate in a dungeon. It's different. Most things have already been cleared out. They call hunters to pick up whatever's left around the fountain. Everyone going to collect items has gathered. Strangely, there are a lot of people. A man named Mr. Wang, who approaches the protagonist, saying he's never seen such a large group for item collection. The dungeon must be huge. Who knows, we might find something really good. He pulls Jal along, who says, I think all the good stuff has already been taken, right? The man replies, of course not. Sometimes hunters are lazy and leave good things behind. At that moment, look who comes all graceful. The beautiful armored lady. She has eyes for someone else though. When she sees our boy, she comes right up to him. A year to collect items, he says yes. He received a call that they needed help. Around them, everyone is wondering who is that guy? Why did she talk to him? Meanwhile, Hagen is worried because it could be dangerous. Gracefully, she offers to protect him. She says if he stays by her side, it will be much safer and easier. She is a bit confused as many guys start crowding around her. Hi Jen, come with me, come here, come there. But she says she doesn't want any of that, and looks at Jaya. Shall we go? He replies. Alright then, the two head. Inside, she explains that such large dungeons usually have very rare plants. Jihad says he's glad he can recognize good plants. Most people don't know what to pick. At that moment, something trembles inside his backpack, and when he opens, it blooms. They're sleeping. Hygiene sees him all cute, tries to pet him like it's right on the hand. Jihad explains he doesn't like being petted when he's being carried. She's a bit upset, but they continue walking. She then notices that the creature is growing a lot day by day. He must be eating very well, right? Jihad. Yes, that's right. Not going to mention, he eat $1 billion worth of stones. Walking through the forest, she asks if you saw the news about the mystical creature and the monster called Pterodrome, and also about the demonic ant nests with a giant handprint. Size of a house? Do you remember slapping it? That can't be it, right? But starts to wonder, is it really like that? Is the world inside the forest a miniature of the outside world? At that moment, Beam gets into an attack stance and Hygiene tells him to step back in front of them. Many trees and plants with big mouths start appearing. Shigat asks if Hagen is okay, but she says this is where the person she's looking for disappeared. It's the same scene, and then we learn the person who disappeared was Korea's rank 1. That means these creatures are at least rank 5. She drinks one of Gino's potions and says Jiha run out of the dungeon as soon as they attack. I'll try to hold them here. Do you have knows it's impossible for her to hold them all off? It's a bunch of extremely high-level monsters. But he notices that Beam is starting to exude an aura. Is he charging ahead? Alone. Strangely, the monsters are running away from him. BM grabs a hand, bites it, and tears off a piece. The plants are all running for their lives. Hygiene is utterly confused, not understanding what happened. BM returns calmly with something in his mouth. Chuka says, "What's that? Do you want me to plant it?" B nods. Meanwhile, Hygiene is thinking about the great trap that killed the rank 1 fleeing. I've never seen anything like this. But Groya says they have another problem at the moment. In one direction of the forest, everything's purple. Hygiene tells Jadad that you should go back and She said she finally found a trace of him. She can't go back now. She could. Draws his position and says, then we'll go together. Even if it's dangerous, she'll protect them, right? She says yes, but she's lying, right? In the end, Obi Beam, who protects them. Walking through the forest, she points to a cave and asks, do you see that all the light is coming from that place? Jihad agrees and they decide to enter. At the entrance, there are traces of blood and large handprints. Someone tried to escape but didn't fare well. At that moment, Hygiene recognizes the armor and sword of the rank 1 guy, but it's all shattered and bloodied. She hugs it, already in tears, thinking he's passed away. Grey K tries to comfort her, saying if he had really been killed here, his skeleton would be here. Probably. He dropped it and went somewhere else. Do you really think so? Yes. Just then, Beam brings a large green apple in his mouth. Actually, it's a symbiotic egg. He says he's heard about it, but isn't sure what it does. When they get out, we'll take a look. The BM gives him a little nip on the arm, wanting affection. Giga says that these are excellent signs and that the person is probably alive. She agrees that must be the case. Let's go back. They're quite optimistic, but if I found destroyed and bloodied armor, I'd assume the worst. Hygienist smiling, saying he brings her a lot of luck, making Jihad a bit embarrassed. This situation is peculiar, isn't it? She tells him to call if he ever needs help, and he agrees. Beham tries to swipe at her, but she just hugs him and pets him. Back at the shop, Jihad is looking up the symbiotic egg. He searches through books but finds nothing, so he decides to go to the world of the forest to see if he can discover anything. When he arrives at Tyrone's approach and indicate they want to help, Gara hands them the egg. The creatures take it to their Pain, who pets it gently. After a while, they're all climbing the tree, moving around. Suddenly, a giant moth appears. Kofra recognizes it as a symbion. It flaps its wings, scattering dust everywhere, and a message appears. A group of symbionts that were dorn have awakened. With that, the restoration of the world tree begins. Chizunakarta is thrilled and touches the tree as he does the world tree. Estos this blessing on him. The dormant destiny has awakened. His class changes to worker of the world tree. Chill looks around impressed. The place has grown much larger, and a lake seems to have appeared out of nowhere. The fruits like the solar apple have leveled up. He thinks with this he can make a lot more potions and earn more money. But then he stops himself. No, I'm here to help the world tree. He starts to think that perhaps restoring the tree is the purpose of all this. Could this be the goal of everything? He sees BM staring at him and asks if he's hungry. Pulls out his fishing rod. Let's catch some fish for dinner. He fishes out a red trout, but when he holds the fish, it has an effect. If eaten, activates level 1, extrasensory perception for 30 minutes. Increases your reflexes by 20%. He realizes that all these items, I have more detailed descriptions. This will make selling potions much easier. He decides to run back to the shop, unaware there's a crowd outside. BM is even handing out numbered tickets for entry into the shop. A guy asks what's going on. Everyone came in buy potions from this shop. Didn't you hear? The potions made by that guy are much better than others. People from other states are coming here just to buy from him. And they're still cheap. She has shop is packed, and he thinks that maybe this is the best way to help as many people as possible. That's why he's limited to 3 potions per person to give everyone a chance to buy one. His book-loving friend enters the shop and shows him on her phone that the Hunter website is all about him. She feels a bit embarrassed. She picks up a potion and says, "Wow, that's the first time I've seen something so well detailed. Nobody knows exactly what a potion does." She got bluffs that he just kept asking everyone until he figured it out. She says if the effects written are true, it's much better than all others. Could she take one extra? As a friend, Gaia says no, but as a friend he'll give her the scroll of creation wish. Any small wish can come true too. Uses Grey Cat, just hopes. Nothing strange. Happens because he hasn't seen anyone use it yet. Later, this friend went to a dungeon with her colleagues, and in the midst of everything she was hit by a creature on her back. When she fell, her group killed the creature and she got up. Strangely, the scroll activated by itself, giving a buff to receive 70% more items for 30 minutes. But at that moment, the ground cracked. Everyone panicked, thinking they would die, but instead they fell straight into the treasure room of that place. There she found exactly the book she had been searching for. After gathering everything, they were leaving the place from a bunch of creatures appeared to attack them. They tried to flee, but there was no escape. She put the book over her head and prayed Mount to die. Suddenly, they were in a kind of desert, and everything around them had disappeared. Meanwhile, back with Jaha, the creatures that were chasing them appeared on his land. When he returned to the shop, the people who have been teleported were angrily waiting at his door. Jahid let them in to explain the situation, and she showed him the book she had found. Inside the book was a map of the continent of Gehenna. After that, everyone left. Our boy was left thinking, now I have a lot of things to do, right? I have to take care of the shop, read this book, manage everything. But there he was, petting the kitten. Those feeling sleepy, he sat in the chair still thinking. Not to mention I have to make a bunch of potions before going to the garden. So he thought it would be better to first take a look at the map. Since it's a map used by the Empire's mites, its quality is quite different. Even the terrains, the names of places, the creatures, everything is written with great detail. The ancient lakes that appear came from the south, and the monster from the forest that he and Hygiene counter came from Mount Apego. If the map were complete, you would be able to know where all the dungeons are. At this moment, a clever idea struck him. He's going to ask the pterodon if they knew of anything. Woke up all lazy with the kitten, but was curious where are the pterodon ones. But the little flower that alerts about creatures was trembling, indicating a powerful creature had appeared. Our protagonist was curious. Did it appear here? Then we see the pterodon surrounding a giant cyclops. Giant. Well, because to our boy, everything is tiny. The cyclops is a disaster ranked creature first seen in China. Almost nothing is known about it besides its size and appearance. The only thing he remembers is that dozens of hunters were sent just to hunt this monster. However, in Korea, a cyclops had never been seen before. The bees were shaking, all over struggling to hit the tiny pterones. Our protagonists asked, "Beam, aren't you going to help them, you bawk? Look at that big guy over there." BM replied that no, they apparently didn't need help. Our protagonist found it strange. Not even a mission window appeared. Does this mean the terror guns can handle it? The little creatures were all shielded and brave. Our protagonist decided to write down some characteristics. Just to ensure things were noted, the pterodons charged forward and the cyclops tried to smash them, but they dodged, aiming straight for its eye. He concentrated some energy there. "Watch out for the laser," our boy warned. But the pterodons took a bit of a hit. The laser went through the entire forest, leaving it devastated. Our boy realized the power difference between them and the cyclops was significant. But the little guys gathered around a captain. Our protagonist was curious. What's their plan? They brought him make a jig, a big crystal, and cut it all up. Our boy wondered what are they going to do? They made all the little shields with other stones. The cyclops didn't care, concentrated on its eye again, and unleash another laser. Our boy saw that the pterones wouldn't do anything but stay calmly there. He smiled as the laser hit the shield, reflected and struck the cyclops' arm, which fell devastated. It was left stumped like he took the opportunity to write in his book. When facing a cyclops, the best strategy is to use an ether shield to reflect its laser. He wondered if people would have enough author to do that. The cyclops all shattered, was crying, running away, but it was over. Pterodon boom, hit its calf, hit its foot. It felt like a fool. Our protagonist was impressed. The little guys indeed managed on their own. Proudly, they came to talk to our boy. He gave them the usual petting. You guys are awesome. Since they worked so hard, he decided to give them a reward. Handing over a bunch of ether, he gave everything to the happy pterodon and received a little letter essence, plus 10 essence, plus 10 essence. 10 received 325 essences. He wondered, why did I get so much after Guild Hua? Gyun saw that some information had been updated on the wiki. When she clicked, it said strategy to defeat is Cyclops. You need 10 essences to see this information. She said, what kind of system is this? I've never seen this before, but it doesn't matter. Right? Instances she can get that easily in just a few dungeons. She sees the information there about the mace, the attack, and the laser. She scrolls down to see the most important part, and it's another 10 essences. Man, this is cruel capitalism 1, she thinks. Poor girl ends up banging her head. Damn, no more essence. Who's the pastor that did this? If I catch you, I'll burn you. Our boy feels a bad sensation. Someone wants to do harm to me. Then we see Heinzek getting out of the car and asking the guy, is there something I need to know about? The guy says no. Then why are there so many hunters here? Damn it. Oh, it's because of this thing from yesterday. Look, he says, wait. A strategy to defeat a Cyclops. Yes, it costs 10 essences to see, and then another 10 essences to see the final strategy. But every hunter knows that. In essences can help with their status. Who's going to spend 20 just to see information about defeating a creature? That's why they all gather here head on over. The author is, but his writing is incredible. Yeah. Especially since his Cyclopes dungeon never appeared here. At the meeting, the guy says it's impossible to access the wiki from any other country, so it's definitely not a foreign thing. Jungkook asks, is there no way to track who's receiving these? The guy replies, unfortunately no. They automatically go straight to the system that helps the hunters, and strangely chest as it's set in the writing. Whoever reads that strategy receives a buff. Coming sick, not understanding a thing. Says I already have a headache. Instructs everyone in the operations group to monitor the hunters who accepted this mission and see what happens. Their safety is the priority. Then see a group form to go hunting. There are 2 hunters looking foolish and Hygiene looking all beautiful and wonderful. In the other group there are 2 more foolish ones in Hygon also looking beautiful. The scene changes to the Cyclops firing the big laser. The mic defends reflects it. Hygiene hits the thighs and calves, and then a meteor hits the chest. It's all chaos at the shop. Our boy is watching everything. An announcement is made. The psychologist dungeon was easily defeated without any catastrophe. Our protagonist is impressed, saying Hygiene and Hyun are incredible. The reporter says that this strategy will be shared with all other countries at no cost. Now G is 100% sure everything he writes in the Book of Infinite Magic is sent straight to the Hunter's wiki. If he keeps sharing everything he's doing with the Pterodrome, he'll never run out of ether. At that moment, the little plant is screaming. Oh no. Another monster. Let's go BMS. I'm telling you, this guy has medicine in the drawer. When the creatures announce themselves, he falls asleep. Upon arriving, he's in the middle of the sea, and on the other side he sees a Pterodrome come in. The system alerts the World Eater is injured and needs your help. Our boy is shocked. World Eater, what is that? Where the Pterodrome points down. He's underground. What is this hole here? When he realizes it, water splashes on his face. BM shakes off the water and dries his leg. Don't tell me I'm standing on the World Eater. Yes, it's the giant whale. Imagine you were so big. He is gigantic. How big is this? It doesn't even make sense. Does it fit on the planet? You're the World Eater. He rascal. He senses that it's weakened. Now he understands why he was gaining so much essence. It was always for this. Here you go. He rascal, and throws everything inside it. Eat, however, and the beast gives him a little stare, getting angry. Our boy wants to know what's happening. Start shouting. There's a flash in the middle of the sea. The beast turns all white, and both fall to the ground, exhausted. A system message appears. Thanks to your help, the World Eater has returned to its original form. When he looks, it became tiny. Our boy likes it. He loves a cute creature, and he gives it a hug. The World Eater is swimming happily, and our boy thinks it was worth using the essences for this, right? BM obviously not. Biome wants everything for himself. Greedy. Suddenly, our boy notices something. Oh, what's happening? He jumps and splashes. Water on the fools when he looks. Actually, the World Eater brought a feast. A bunch of fish, oysters, snails, and crabs. Our protagonist is amazed. Wow, you're giving me all this. The creature nods. He thanks it and Beam starts eating. The World Eater then leaves on the news. Of course, they're already talking danger. Urgent news. An absurdly gigantic creature appeared in the southern part of Korea. Who could it be? Looking for the creature. Oh no, it's not the World Eater. It's a gigantic octopus. I thought it was our dear World Eater. It already jumped on a house. Everyone's running away in fear. The problem is that the hunters haven't arrived yet. Suddenly someone points out, "Captain, what's that?" When they look, they see what's behind the poor octopus. The guys are terrified. Wait, and destruction-level creature. Octopus wants to run back to the sea, but it gets sucked in and pulled into the belly of the World Eater gone. The whale is there in the sea, and the guys are just watching. Jungkook asked the guy, "Wait, so this giant whale is a demagogue that made a contract with someone who awakened for the first time?" The guy says yes, it matches the description of a demigod. Jungkook says they need to watch a bit more, but they mention that all the creatures that were near area were pushed to Japan. No one understands what's happening. It's chaos in the library. He and Sonia are just reading. She brought him a bunch of old books from the Kingdom of Estrin, hoping to find some information. Our boy thanks her. She asked if he managed to use the map, and he says unfortunately it only covers from the beginning of the kingdom to the park by the river. Besides, it was described by some knights of the commander, so it's not very accurate. She's confused. What do you mean it's not perfect? You see everything to know. Our protagonist is thinking the one who saw everything was the Terradrome told me, but she can't know that. However, he adds, just adding the southern area of the Tail Sea will complete the Grell String Kingdom map. At least they will know everything around the region. Some Young is curious, why are you so keen on restoring the map? It seems too focused to be just a hobby. He says he feels that it will help someone. He's sure the guy Mina is looking for. Han Sung-yuk is alive somewhere on the continent of Urena. He's got unshakable faith. He found the guy's armor and sword completely destroyed, which means he's alive. But our boy is confident with the World Tree's ability. He's sure he'll find him soon. Have asked curiously, "You trying to help a good friend? Who is she?" "Tell me." Our boy says it's not like that. She says, "Woman." "I see, well I'm going to sleep because I have to wake up early tomorrow." Our boy says, "All right then. Goodbye my warrior." But before she leaves, he reminds her to pick up the potion in the morning, since they're doing Dungeon Run 3. She agrees, thanks him and leaves. Our boy is happy with her visit, as she helped him gather more information. He creates a new scroll in the book, a scroll of pursuit. It allows finding a living person through a trace of their location. Armoy is thinking of hygiene, all teary and sad. He wants to help the warrior, so he uses the scroll. Spatial power beam of light, seeing her walking back and forth. Why didn't you use it on the guy you want to find? You fool? It's fine since he can make infinite specials. Anyway, BM comes along, gives him a look, asked if he was scared. He gives him a pet, and they're back to the dream world. Strangely, the water there became much clearer. He wonders if it's all thanks to the World Eater. Even the solar apples have leveled up. He visits the Terradrone gang, and the boss is getting huge. Oh no, wait. He was just the angle. Our boy apologizes for the delay. He was very busy. Meeting the rascal then brings a bunch of seeds from some fruit for him. Our protagonist is impressed. A quantity has increased a lot compared to before. He thanks them. The leader points upward, and our boy wonders what is it. He starts climbing. "Do you want me to climb?" "Alright, here we go." When he reaches the top, you can see everything around. He recognizes a mountain in the distance is Mount Apedo, and this really proves that the entire continent of Gehenna is within this garden. At that moment, BM looks down angrily, wanting to get down to eat, but now he's stuck. It's easy to climb up, but hard to get down. As he starts to descend, something grabs it, squeezes, and he sees a little plant staring at him. He gets scared, and the plant gets scared too. He calls out for help. BM save me as the plant evil know it. Just made a path for him. They are all affectionate. Our boy says sorry, thank you for helping me down. He realizes, wow, it's just a cute little plant that likes to clean to people. Should I add this to the hunter's wiki too? Looking at the long path, he knows he'll have to cross this whole plain to reach Mount Apato. He remembers that this is the direction that people who fled from the Estrin Kingdom went. According to the Pterodon's information, this might also be the direction Hen Sunyak, who disappeared, went. The map shows that following the Tails River also gets you close to Mount Apato. Heading south of the mountain might be a good idea to find traces of Sunyak. But when he gets there, he hits a barrier. This is as far as he can go, so he asks the Pterodome for help. While they investigate, he goes to feed BM. The problem is where his BM. He's shouting for him to come over. Strange beyond. Usually stays around but never goes this far. Here's something that looks over. It's the crazy carnivorous plant coming to talk to him. Our boy is now worried. Where is BM? He bangs his head on the table in the shop beyond. Where did you go without me? We did so much together. At that moment, Hyejin and Jungkook enter the shop. She asks what's wrong, Jai. Jae replies, hi, who's this guy next to you? He introduced himself that he's talking. He grounds a potion and tells our protagonist that what he has is extraordinary. Our protagonist thanks him, saying he will make tea for them. It seems our boy called her because she says, I was surprised you called me first. Our boy says he has something to tell her. She, curious, responds to me. He says I was studying an ancient book and found something you might like. She looks at it. Scroll a change. Trace, the protagonist, says this will help you find Sung Yok. Hyungsik asks, did you make the scroll? How did you translate an ancient book? Hyejin interrupts. We keep that a secret, right? She confirms. Kunkun asks Mr. Jihad, did you make a contract with the divine creature? Our protagonist wonders to himself, does he already know about the demigods? The guy says yes. Demigod. The guy explains, you don't have to tell me your abilities and how you use them or not is up to you. I just want you to know that you have become a very important person in South Korea. Now our protagonist says, me, the guy explains. Thanks to your potions, the survival rate of hunters has increased by 20%. The Hunters Association owes you a debt, so I came here to give you this. If you need anything, we will support. Our protagonist feels awkward. Do I deserve this? The guy says yes, you are the future of the hunters. Hyejin interrupts. Wait, you said you wanted to talk to him personally. The guy replies, I am talking to him personally here. Hyejin apologizes to our protagonist, saying she didn't know Hyejin Sik would come here for this business. He's a maniac. Our boy says it's alright, he appreciates everything, and next time he will. A good meal for everyone. The guy thanks him, takes a bunch of potions and leaves. Hyejin comments. He's like that, only likes to work. Our protagonist says it's kind of cute in a way. They go inside to talk. She sits next to him and asks, what are you writing? He says, wait, I'm finishing up. He draws a castle in a lake. She asks, wait, is this the Estring Kingdom's castle? That's right. He explains, if you see a place with terrain similar to this drawing, use the scroll, and you're thinking of Samyak. If he's nearby or has any trace of him, the scroll tell you where he is. He wants to show her how it works now, but he's running out of ink. She thanks him teary-eyed. Thank you so much. He says it's okay. I believe he's alive somewhere, and I will help you as much as I can. She says he's such a kind person. He responds, it's nothing. Friends should always help each other. She gets closer, asking, do you need help with anything? Tell me. He thinks, oh, she getting too close. She asks, where is BM? Where did he go? He says, he ran off in a forest. BM is jumping around, transforming, becoming gigantic, even with his weakened body being destroyed hundreds or thousands of times. The Guardians hold their position until the last moment, and the prey of the god Arctis has come to find you. It seems Beam is hunting someone. He finds a little wolf trapped by goblins and chains the one who conveys the will of the god Growler. It's bad for the poor wolf surrounded by 200 goblins. Let's see how he handles this. He's growling with everyone watching when suddenly they hear something. Looking back, they see gigantic. He walks through them without saying anything. He sends a message, Schumann, all those enslaved by evil. The goblins run away. He then talks to the little wolf, who looks at him and says, what are you doing here? You coward? The Arctis. It seems the creature has two names, Arctis and Beyond. Beyond breaks his chain and says retirement ends here. Growler. Growler responds, you arrogant cat. But B-Knight explains the restoration of the world tree has begun. Growler sits. Only the will of God can guide me. Get out of here, you stinky cat. Bean bites him on the neck. Take that? Growler asks. What are you doing, you puckin'? BM says, boy, you forgot on the procurator of God. If I say you go, and it's done. Then see our boy with his party friends all standing in front of a castle. It looks like the castle he drew while searching in the other world. He thanks them for coming with him. Seeing Young says no problem. Compared to the potions you gave us, it's worth it. But why did you want to come here? This is just an empty dungeon, right? The protagonist explains. The Black Lion commander helped some survivors escape during the war. There might be some kind of secret tunnel song. Young responds, oh, I didn't consider that. Maybe there really is something here. The Mohawk Knight says, I don't care about mentioning the Fallen Kingdom. I just hope for some insane artifact inside the sword he's using. A Long Knight's sword not only gives good stats, but also increases the group's damage by 7% for 5 minutes. Our boy says, that sword you have is pretty good, isn't it? The guy looks at it. This is just a normal artifact. At least it has a group buff. Our protagonist thinks, I know it's a rare artifact. The guy asks, how do you know that our boy thinks, oh crap, I've forgotten I can see this stuff? He lies. I recently received an item analysis skill, that's all. Everyone is impressed. Wow, now they understand why he can describe the potions so well. The armored guy asks, hey, take a look at this for me. What do you think of my armor? Our boy checks light chest armor, increases defense by 10%, and critical defense by 5%. That's it. The mage congratulates him for finally getting a skill, and he thanks everyone, all happy. The knights are ecstatic. This skill is amazing. We're all going to get rich. Let's go. He hits them on the head. How dare you think of using the boy? They apologize. Someone tells him it's good if you've made a skill, like you have to be careful with something like this. You'll find bloodsuckers like those two everywhere. He laughs. Got it. But our boy thinks it makes sense. They continue walking along the wall. He thinks it might be good to ask Hingisik later how to use his skills better. They might points to a part of the wall destroyed by monsters. On the other side is the Tails River, much larger than anyone imagined, and the water is extremely clear. Our boy stands near it, thinking, this place looks very deep. How do they make a tunnel here? He needs to check the back of Mount Apato. Do you want to see in the book when everyone comes? Atal, are you drawing the place? What are you doing? At that moment, the Scroll of Hope in Sunny's backpack activates, the one that increases the chance of receiving a special item by 70%. Our boy suddenly stands up, scaring everyone. She looks confused, but he stood up because he saw she was falling into the water like an idiot. There she goes again, drowning. Our boy heroically dives in swimming like Michael Phelps to save her, but something is on his back. Look who it is. It's the World Eater, but very small. He has saved them both outside. He tells her to wake up. You crazy? You're all drowned. A while later, they're back on solid ground. Our boy thanks the World Eater for saving them both. Then Su Young calls him from afar, telling him to take a look. There's a strange magic circle with a small cauldron. Our protagonist is delighted. They thank the world here and say goodbye. Su Young wonders, am I cursed without knowing? I keep falling all the time? The little knight tells her, at least you got that brooch. It seems good, and her hand is the artisan's last brooch. She asks our boy, does this have any special function? He examines it. Production artifact increases the quality of hand techniques by 10%. She's amazed, really. She tears out some pages from the book and makes an origami dragon. Our boy says this artifact is perfect for her. It would be perfect for me too, for making potions, but it's her power too. The knight says, let's head back. The dungeon is about to close. Our boy thanks them and says we'll see them tomorrow. It turns out that the writing on the ground taught how to make a dimensional portal. Using the power granted by the gods, you can open a portal to a different dimension. You can return by drawing the same circle. Our protagonist is hopeful. I found a magic circle and got lucky. If I can figure out the secret behind this, maybe I can learn how the Terrans can travel so easily from the garden to the real world. He returns to the shop saying, well, I'm back. But then he remembers the rascal isn't there. However, he's as confident as ever, a psychopath who believes in everything. I'm sure he'll come back soon. I'll be to work. Back in the garden, he calls the kids, but where are they? Looking around, there's no one. When he looks to the side, he sees BM, gigantic with a little wolf in his mouth. Our boy asks, you rascal. And as you grow so much, and who is this stray dog in your hand? It takes a closer look. Growler, the messenger of God, asks for your help. You want to take care of the boy, yes or no? Our boy of course accepts. The creature begins to glow golden. The power of the world tree flows into Broiler, and he starts to regain his strength. He glares at our protagonist, growling fiercely but being so small. There's nothing he can do. Our boy grabs him because he's cute. John names him Doggo like a little dog. Truly a prodigy of creativity. Doggo doesn't like it, but BM says just accept it, pal. This is your new home. A while later, the number of Tourette owns has increased significantly since Dogo arrived. It's probably because of his characteristics, demigod and the master's will. It increases affinity and leadership of animals by 1.1, and also increases everyone's speed by 1.2. Chryska says this is very good. It means that just by grill or getting stronger, everyone gets stronger. Not to mention, he still has the persistent hunter ability, detecting any movement within 2 kilometers. With Doggo leading, they will quickly reach Mount Apino. The harvest is yielding a mountain of either. Thanks to the kids, he picks a special fruit to give as a present. He's eager to eat happily, but greedy BM comes and steals it. A fight breaks out. Our boy has to separate them, saying, hey, "You two rascals, stop fighting." At that moment, the little plant sends a warning. "You know someone is at the shop." Your returns placing the two on the ground, telling them they're fat from eating too much. At that moment, the guys from the association are entering the shop. Doggo is feisty, already glaring at them. One of them says, "Man, you got another one, you rascal." Henson greets our protagonist, saying, "I didn't expect you to invite me so soon." He feels a bit embarrassed. It was a big surprise. He almost took cuts to the chase. "Is it true what you told me before?" You can see the characteristics of artifacts. The protagonist confirms yes. The guild leader, whom our boy had previously refused, also speaks. "Hi, it's been a while, Mr. Jiha." Our protagonist responds, "Yes, it has been. But what brings you here, Hunter Troy, if I may ask?" The guy says, "I know you refused guild offers last time, and I remember how angry they got, but I'm here for a different reason. The potions and scrolls you've been making are incredible, and as an alchemist, I'm getting jealous." Our protagonists have been embarrassed. Thanks him. Hyungsik says, "Let's sit and talk, we have many questions." A while later, he asks, "Up to what level of artifact can you see?" Our protagonist explains, "I can perfectly see the name, description, unique ability, and even the percentages. I discovered this while making some potions and artifacts." They are both impressed. "Such a skill, it's almost like you belong to a class specialized in item analysis." Our protagonist, a bit shy, says he has the ability but doesn't know exactly how to use it. Hungstek says they will teach him. Besides, Hunter Troy is there for the same reason. Our protagonist is happy, saying he will help the hunters as much as he can with his skills. Gangsta continues. "First, you need to know there are only a few appraisers. The entire world, if your ability is exposed, hunters from all over the world will come to your shop, disrupting your daily life. But we have already made preparations for this." Our protagonist asks what you already did in Hunter's Wiki is a new post-information artifact appraisal. Poor Dwayne is exasperated again. When she opens to see the information, it says appraisals from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for an easy process. The first appraise are the first to arrive. Maximum of 60 reservations per day. Location Eternal Flame Guild basement. Huion is puzzled. "What? That's my guild? How come? What's going on? I haven't known anything about this." Next scene, there's already a line forming. Our protagonist is wearing a mask, so no one knows it's him. Just sending out artifact analysis. To everyone, if you use this blade like the other blade called Witch of the East, every 30 seconds there's a chance to speed up your movement. The girl thanks him. "Thank you so much, Master Cat." He also thanks her, saying that analyzing artifacts is quite fun. The only downside is that it's a bit annoying to wear the mask, but it was worth asking Chungzit for help. Now he feels a bit embarrassed. He refused Ryan's offer to join guild. But here he is using her guild. Poor boy on his banging the table in frustration. Choice says, "Calm down, my warrior." The worst part is, he's thinking if she finds out it's jihad, it will be even worse. She doesn't know a thing. She's upset, saying, "I can't believe the reservations are full for 3 months already." Koi says, "Miss, it's your fault for not being quick enough." She grabs him. "You crushed him. How could you do this to me?" "You should have told me earlier," Troy explains. "I'm not the one in control that's coming sick. There's nothing I can do. The location was decided just yesterday. Besides, you told me I could use the basement for anything." She looks at a bunch of stacks and says it'll take I don't know of 2 years to analyze all this. Do something about it now. "We have some privilege since they're using our place," he says. "I don't know. I'm leaving. Have a lot to do. Your time will come eventually. Just wait, and don't cause more trouble." She sits down angrily thinking, where did this Master Cat come from? Who is this guy? If I find out, I'll make him my appraisal slave. Our boy's ears are burning. They won't stop talking about him. Our protagonist is explaining to Choi how to make high-quality potions. "You have to shake it like this, my friend. That way the potion, goes from special to very special food." Alex. "Wow, we did it the same way, but yours has a 16-second duration and mine 11. What's happening?" Our protagonist says it could be a variation in the quality of ingredients, but in reality, it's because he's already at level 3. Alchemist, though, no one knows. However, at least they made enough to sell tomorrow. Our protagonist thanks him for his presence, saying that with him here, the shop will produce faster. Koi says that he and the president of the Hunters Association want to recruit more alchemists. Good potions like these can't just be sold here. We need to open more and more shops. Please teach me more, sensei. Our boy says that he needs to capture him, having only started as an alchemist recently. A while later, when they leave, he's exhausted and thinks, let's go to the garden, I'll just fall asleep. Upon arriving, the pterodon are busy with their harvest. creating mountains of ether. Our boy says, "Come here, kids," and they come happily jumping into his lap. Of course, they also argue with each other. The little knight pterodon comes and points in a direction. Our protagonist wonders what's the problem. Roland jumps and gestures with his head to call them too. He follows with the mosquito gang and wild dogs approaching a system message. Pier's creatures have appeared in the Great Plains. Growler demonstrates his command abilities. Wow, the Zork is tiny compared to him. With one paw, everyone flies away.